Yeah.
Oof.
Make it that graphic right there.
No, but I mean, but look, this is what's in people's body. This is what's being removed from people's damaged hearts, and you can see why. I mean, my God. For again, for the radio viewers, so I don't even know how to describe it. You got to just see the image.
But go back to the microscope image, if you would, please. Yeah. Help describe this for the radio viewers. But we're going to start zooming in on this, and we're going to get a lot more contrast and information. I have to refocus as we move. But what I want you to notice about this, and again, this is coming out of people who were formerly alive. People are walking around with these things growing inside their arteries and blood vessels, okay? These are massive. These are not the size of just one protein. These are like billions of proteins, and these are strands. In fact, I want to show you something. Let me zoom out. I want to show you something that's just going to blow your mind. If I grab this with the forceps here, you can see that on screen, and I start to pull, I want to show you how much I can pull and how strong these are before this breaks.
Oh, wow.
You see how they are fibrous and they are strong. They're like rubber bands.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Alex Jones Show. I'm Harrison Smith. I'm sitting in here with Mike Adams since he is going to be a little bit preoccupied putting together this very intense-looking science experiment. And so I'm just here sort of to sit in for the audience and maybe ask questions about what exactly you're doing, Mike. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so as I mentioned before, we have acquired these clots that have been removed from deceased patients who died suddenly.
Right.
And the embalmers have never seen these clots before until the vaccines began to be administered. And the embalmer that provided these to me, who is our guest today, is Richard Hirschman. So he'll be chiming in on this. These are the clots, and I hope we can get maybe a kind of an up-close shot.
We can do maybe a...
But anyway, I'm going to take these out of the vial here, and again, live on radio and the video broadcast, I'm going to take these out, and I'm going to stain these with iodine, and then I'm going to prepare these on the slide, and then we're going to look at magnifications up to 1,500 times and see what these are. And most importantly, Harrison, is that what we're showing on the microscope right now is a drop of blood from one of the crew members who donated this drop this morning, just with a little diabetes, Lance type thing. Mm-hmm. And we're going to show you that like that drop of blood is coagulating right now, and there it is live. That is very different from what we're about to see.
That's a healthy, normal piece of blood.
Yes, that is now dried. So it's a little scab, basically,
right.
You could say. It's like a one-drop scab.
And so for our radio listeners, the vial that Mike is holding, it looks like it's filled with little worms. I mean, they look like little tiny earthworm-looking things. It's really pretty gross, and that came out of a human being.
Well, yes, and these are only the very smallest examples. There are more vials I have that are, some of these strands are the thickness of your finger.
Oh, Lord.
And what's happening, and you're going to hear this from our physician guest who's joining us in the next segment with his voice altered to protect his identity, is that these are blocking femoral arteries. They're blocking carotid arteries. Some people are having to have femoral artery bypass surgery in order to not die. And these are on the smaller size here. When these lodge near your hands or toes, they will cut off circulation to your extremities, which is called peripheral cardiovascular disease typically, and it can cause your fingers and toes to turn black. Now there's a photo, yeah, there's an up-close photo of the vial. There's another photo for the producers that should show a man's fingers that have turned black.
Oh my gosh.
That's what happens when these clots block blood circulation.
Looks like a very extreme case of frostbite or something.
Exactly, which is the same thing as, your extremities have lost blood flow.
Right.
But the thing is, Harrison, and I mean, you're welcome. I brought extra gloves if you want to get in on this, but I don't mean to joke about this. This is serious business, but these have the consistency of small rubber bands.
Right. No, it's horrifying looking in person. Hopefully it's coming across on the camera because it really does look like something from a horror film. And these were drawn out of somebody's veins who had died of a sudden heart attack or something similar. And I was taking them out of the vial here now. And there's already pre-dyed ones, but we're doing this live and actually going to take the real thing you say dye it with iodine.
Yes.
Right.
Iodine is used in the standard gram staining techniques for microbiology, along with violet colored dyes. But what I found is that iodine, this came out of a living, well, a previously living person. And the reason this is important for us to study is because, you know, these people are dead and they can't speak.
Right.
We have to speak for them. So, and by the way, these samples have all been sterilized. For anybody concerned about medical procedures, these have been sterilized with ultraviolet radiation as well as ethyl alcohol treatments and so on. So there's no danger to us, but I am wearing gloves, as you might expect.
Yeah, and folks, if you are a radio listener, you've got to get to band.video and see this and share this imagery, because even just seeing this thing, this entity that came out of someone's veins, I mean, that alone is enough to convince you there's something very disturbing going on here.
So this is just iodine, folks. This is not blood. This is just iodine.
Right.
And iodine is used for staining in order to provide contrast. And then I'm just washing it with ethyl alcohol. And once this is done, we're going to go ahead and place it under the microscope.
And that's to get the contrast, so it's just more easily viewable under the microscope, right?
Exactly. Again, kind of standard staining techniques, but usually used for microbiology. But we're just using it for these tissue samples here. Now, I'm going to flatten this out with another slide because it's a little too tall. It's pretty, you know, chunky here. So I'm just going to kind of flatten it out a little bit. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go ahead and place this under the microscope in real time. Again, because the reason I'm doing this is I don't want anybody to think that any of this is, you know, faked or anything like that.
Right. So, doing the whole thing live. My God.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oof.
Make it that graphic right there.
No, but I mean, but look, this is what's in people's body. This is what's being removed from people's damaged hearts, and you can see why. I mean, my God. For again, for the radio viewers, so I don't even know how to describe it. You got to just see the image.
But go back to the microscope image, if you would, please. Yeah. Help describe this for the radio viewers. But we're going to start zooming in on this, and we're going to get a lot more contrast and information. I have to refocus as we move. But what I want you to notice about this, and again, this is coming out of people who were formerly alive. People are walking around with these things growing inside their arteries and blood vessels, okay? These are massive. These are not the size of just one protein. These are like billions of proteins, and these are strands. In fact, I want to show you something. Let me zoom out. I want to show you something that's just going to blow your mind. If I grab this with the forceps here, you can see that on screen, and I start to pull, I want to show you how much I can pull and how strong these are before this breaks.
Oh, wow.
You see how they are fibrous and they are strong. They're like rubber bands.
Right, and it looks like it has the consistency of, and I hate to even put it this, but it looks like something like raw calamari. I mean, it looks like some sort of rubbery seafood.
Yep.
But not something you'd want to eat. I mean, it looks like
that's a good description, raw calamari. But understand that these are not clumps of blood. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Right.
There's no way that these are blood clots. These are, I call them engineered biostructures.
Right.
So something in people's bodies is programming them to build these biostructures inside their arteries. And for anyone watching who is skeptical, they might think, no, those look like blood vessels. You must have taken the blood vessels or the capillaries. No, this is inside the blood vessels.
And I can just tell from the sort of rubbery consistency of it, it's not blood. I mean, it clearly is something, it doesn't look natural to me. No. It looks like seafood, like raw sort of, I don't know, squid parts.
Well, let me show you now. I stained these yesterday using a different staining technique. Oh, we're about to go to break. When we come back, I'm going to show you this because there's a lot more detail.
Yeah, you can see the detail there. Wow. All right, I'm going to stick around as we do this live experiment here. Incredibly disturbing, folks. Again, if you're a radio listener, I can only describe it so well. You've got to go to band.video and see the images we are broadcasting live as we look through the microscope into the depths of hell, really.